This is day 178 of New Zealand's Biggest Gap Year, an epic challenge that Laura and I decided to tackle a couple of years ago, where we had to do 365 activities all around New Zealand in 365 days. Well, on that day, 178, we decided to just explore Dunedin and check out what the city has to offer. So join me at the end of the video when we're going to go over all the comments you guys had the last time we published it. Today, Laura and I really want to take the time to explore the lovely town of Dunedin. It has a very different atmosphere than any other town in New Zealand, and it's probably because of its very unique architecture, so we want to take the time to roam around the city and show you all of the stuff that it has to offer. One of the main reasons why Dunedin is looking so different than any other town in New Zealand is because during the massive Otago gold rush, this was the main entry port for every single gold miner, giving it a huge influx of cash and giving it the ability to build so many grand buildings all in one go. But Dunedin is not only famous for its old churches, which it has a lot of and we'll show you some more later, it also has a really awesome museum called the Toitu Settlers Museum.
The Toitu Museum goes through all the people that have settled throughout the years in the Otago region, obviously starting with the first people who arrived in New Zealand, which are the Maori. The museum has quite an entrance with this booming video about the early Maori, and then we actually get to explore a few of these mock-ups of early Maori houses and canoes themselves. There's a lot of artifacts to check out too, and there's a few things that makes Robin a little bit nervous.
Just behind me right here is an early settlers medical kit. This includes a corkscrew bottle opener, pliers, a very gigantic knife, a saw, and a couple of other tools that I don't even know the name of. Look at this stuff of a nightmare, and this was a medical kit.
After the Maori came the European settlers, and mostly in Dunedin that was British and Scottish people. So we see a few of this old Victorian artifacts that they brought along with them, like the penny farthing. And this is when the city of Dunedin started to be built. It's actually really fascinating the hassle these guys had to come through to actually migrate to New Zealand, and we actually see a mock-up of what those migration ships used to look like.
The collection then moved on to the more modern days with a lot of appliances from the 50s and the 70s. It is quite funny to see how much things have evolved since then. I've never seen a fridge that big and that bulky that can contain that little. We then move on to the next section of our Dunedin exploration, which is going to take us through the massive Octagon, which is the city centre of Dunedin and the home to yet another beautiful church. Also around the Octagon there is a lot of different bars, restaurants, eateries, and Laura and I are feeling a little bit peckish, and it's been raining a lot on us today, so we want a hot drink. So we go in one of the little side streets and find ourselves a lovely coffee shop called the Strictly Coffee Company, and we highly recommend it to you. Their coffees and hot chocolate was awesome, and they have board games for the patrons to play with while sipping on the hot drinks. What else can you ask for?
Next up on our Dunedin itinerary is the Dunedin Public Art Gallery, which is another place situated in the Octagon. It's free entry, which is something we always love, and the exhibitions are ever changing, so you'll see something different compared to what we see. There's a lot of cool and creative pieces, but there are a few disturbing ones as well. It must be appealing to some people. After the art gallery, we actually see a lot more art on the streets of Dunedin. There's a lot of street art, which is really cool, and we're making our way now back to the Hogwarts Backpackers, which has amazing views of yet another cathedral in Dunedin. But we have to take the time to mention how awesome this Backpackers is, basically because it's called Hogwarts, so it's a Harry Potter themed hostel. But sadly, there are no house elves here to do the dishes, so you're gonna have to do them yourself.
I'm guessing there's some gold in here. Oh, it's locked. Those elves are keeping this well and truly locked. I cannot get in.
Alright guys, so what do you think about the town of Dunedin? Do you think it would be a good place to hang out, to even live in? I personally think that it's a really amazing city and probably one of my favorite, big size city in New Zealand. Alright, so let's go over some of the comments that you guys had the first time we published it. We had Jackie that says, "Hi, I'm going there for coffee. Now you have recommended it. Heading over to Dunedin at the end of October. I love the museums and the churches. Are there any places to go? Lord of the Rings sceneries. It looks like cold and windy, but who cares? Take care." And yeah, so I gave her a list of local Lord of the Rings places that there is to visit. To be quite fair, you mostly have to go more inland into Otago to find that. There is not much coastlines, Lord of the Rings sceneries. Ebe says, "I love the Toy Tree Museum. I go there a lot and my favorite bit is probably the Tiger Tea bus." Yeah, we showed that in the video. It's kind of funny indeed. Robert Thompson said, "The city centre has the same street names as Edinburgh in Scotland." Here you go. Here's a nice tidbit shared by some of you guys. Musafika says, "Which camera do you use when making these videos?" So we have a couple of GoPros and Laura also use a Nikon DSLR. And yeah, that's basically what we use. Luke Walker says, "Dunedin is a city, not a town." Indeed, it is. And yeah, we did correct ourselves later on. And Ron Jeremy says, "Sorry, but the Maori weren't the first people to visit New Zealand at all. There was the Moriori beforehand." So here you go. And that is true. There are some exhibitions in some New Zealand museums that actually cover that part of the history of New Zealand as well. So there is always plenty of things to learn from you guys, from our videos. And we compile all those information and put it on nzpocketguide.com, which is New Zealand's largest travel guide. It's free for all to use, so you may want to check this one out. If you want to say thank you for all our hard work, you can also hit like and subscribe. It's a great way to reward us because, doing all those videos is a ton of work. And if you want to hang out with us, you can join one of our live sessions. It's happening at Sunday, 8 a.m. New Zealand time every single week. So join us then and ask us all your questions about traveling in New Zealand, and we'll gladly have a nice conversation with you guys. In the meantime, have a lovely day and we'll see you on the next adventure. Bye bye.